it's Alisha here, and I just wanted to film a video about something really important to remember every time that you're triggered, and that is that there is a nugget there for you every single time that may be kind of hard to see, and you don't necessarily need to know what the nugget is, but it's very important to know that there is something there for you, and that is why it's triggering you. Otherwise, it wouldn't even trigger you. There's certain things that do trigger you, certain things that don't. So if something is triggering you, it is showing you where you're holding resistance to something. And this is your opportunity to move through it. So it's really, really important to remember that. And this has been like coming up for me recently where, you know, the same thing has been triggering me every time somebody says it, and it's about like taking action. You know, if you guys watch any of my videos, I do talk about how you don't need to like work hard and things don't have to be an effort or struggle for you to receive. Life is meant to be fluid and effortless. And so I talk about taking inspired action, which is much different than just taking action to not have to feel what you're feeling and that sort of thing. And I have a separate video about that. But you guys may have noticed that in a lot of my videos, I talk about how, you know, you can receive so much by sitting in stillness and taking inspired action, or not even taking action at all, where things get taken care of for you when you surrender to your emotions. And I didn't realize how much I'm triggered by the thought of taking action. And I'm all down for taking inspired action, but there was a part of me that was even in resistance to taking inspired action because I was so against taking action. And that's why I talk about it so passionately in my videos, and why every time someone mentions to just like get out of your house, go do this thing, and I'm like, oh, that feels like effort and struggle, so I'm not going to do that. It's like a huge trigger for me. And instead of it being just like, you know what, that doesn't resonate with me, thank you for the perspective, but you know, that doesn't feel fluid, it's a trigger, which means there's something there for me. And even though it's happened so many times, and I know that triggers are, you know, an opportunity to move through something, it's bringing up something in you, for some reason, this one thing, so many times, this comes up in conversation all the time, and it triggers me every time, and yet I wasn't willing to sit with it or see the really big nugget that was there for me, which is that I'm in resistance to taking action, which means that I was limiting myself in a lot of ways, because even when I was guided to take inspired action, I was in resistance to even taking any action at all. So wasn't really doing it. Well, if I felt really called to do something, then I would get the energy to do it and I would have done it. So I haven't missed out on anything. But I may have not been seeing the guidance. Like, I've been receiving the guidance and just been shutting it out because I'm like, you know, that doesn't, you know, that involves taking action, and I'm in resistance to that. Instead of just being like, you know what, that doesn't really resonate and that doesn't feel fluid, so I'm not going to do that. You know, those are two different energies, being like, no way am I going to do that. Are you kidding? Like, and just being like, you know what, thanks for the perspective, but that doesn't resonate. So those are two different energies. And it was a major nugget that was there for me that I couldn't see that was there for me no matter how many times this triggered me. And so the point I want to make is that I didn't necessarily need to figure out what this nugget meant, that I was in resistance to taking action. All I had to do was actually sit with the discomfort when I was triggered. And then I would have dissolved the resistance that was coming up, which was resistance to taking action. But I didn't necessarily need to know what it was. I just had to sit with the resistance and the discomfort and breathe through it. So I just wanted to film a quick video about that, because even someone who very much knows that when they're triggered, it's an invitation, still was able to completely miss the nuggets that were showing up for me as an invitation when I was triggered. So this is like a huge thing to remember, is every time you're triggered, there is a nugget there for you, otherwise you wouldn't even be triggered. It's a gift, it's an invitation, and even if you can't figure out what it is, just sit with the discomfort that's coming up for you when you're triggered, and it will dissolve itself. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and hit the bell button if you want to be notified the next time I upload a video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.